Hello and welcome to the Self Coach community for January. This recording is me running through the session that we ran. We don't record the live sessions because what people share in those sessions is confidential. However, this recording enables you to access that even if you weren't able to attend. So these are the boundaries that we look for in the community. And so as you're doing this practice for yourself, just notice that being respectful and kind to yourself is a really good place to start. So as we arrive, this is my normal practice to just give us a moment to arrive here in this place. You've chosen to give yourself this time. And so here we are. I have just a small thing that I want to read to you so that we can just consciously choose to be here. And this is your time for you to focus on yourself, building the muscle of self-coaching. And this month we're looking at change. And so that will give you an idea of something that you might want to reflect on. So as we arrive here, I'm going to read you a poem called Hope is the Thing with Feathers by Emily Dickinson. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chilliest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me. So, this picture, by the way, is a sunrise that was at my house the other day. Absolutely beautiful. So as we ground ourselves and center in this moment, I just want to thank you for your time and talk to you about what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the art, the skill of self-coaching and how to do it. We're then going to talk about change, what it is, why we find it so very difficult. And then there'll be some time for you to practice self-coaching in the context of change. I will guide you in that process. And then, you can reflect on how it went, and then that's it. So it's a very, it's a 20-minute thing. So let's go. First things first, self-coach framework. This is just a way of framing a conversation, an internal dialogue. That is what self-coaching is. When you get coached by somebody else, they ask the questions. And with self-coaching, you ask yourself the questions. When a coach coaches you, they listen carefully and frame the next question. And when you're coaching yourself, you do it. But you do it in an intentional way and in a coaching style, coming at it with curiosity, with compassion, seeking clarity. This is not a space where we judge ourselves. This is not a space where we are harsh to ourselves, even though some of those bits might pop up. So this is a supportive, future-focused development conversation that you are having with yourself. And this framework: decide, notice, choose, reflect, and practice. What do I want? Where am I now? What do I need? What's working? What isn't working? And how can I improve? These are just some starter for 10 questions that you can use. But any journey of change, of self-development, starts with knowing what you want to be different and why. So this framework is really important and will guide and support you in your self-coaching conversations. So fall 7 times and stand up 8. That's really what we're looking for, because change is not about perfection, getting it right the first time. You know, and I know that we learn more from the things we don't get right than it all going seamlessly right out the gate. So this is the vibe, this is the energy. Fall 7 times, stand up 8. And when you look at change and a model for change, this is one that I quite like. It's an it's a classic. You've probably seen it before. We start in the green zone with pre-contemplation. This means that whilst you might be aware that you want to change something or something needs to be different, you're not ready. And in contemplation, you are absolutely getting yourself ready. You might be looking for support, looking for resources, doing some research, etc., etc. Preparation is where you are actively, if you're, for example, if you wanted to become fitter, preparation is where you join the gym and get the kit that you need and all of that good stuff. We have action, we have maintenance, but it's really important to note that relapse is a core part of change. It's not that we don't have any kind of fallout from the change. It's natural to stop it or to amend it or whatever, and that's feedback, and that's important because we can get straight back in to doing some things differently and having learned something from the relapse. The relapse is not the change stopping. It's just a natural and normal part of the process. So that is change in a nutshell. Great. That sounds really simple. And that's super. Why is it then that we find it so difficult? Why can we not get it done? Well, there are lots of reasons. These are just some. But if we change from a place of negativity, that is really very, very difficult to do. And what do I mean by that? I might want to be thinner, to be fitter, to be more successful in my career. But if I'm coming at it from the place of, oh, well, you're way behind the curve, everybody else has done this, or, what kind of idiot are you to not have managed to sort this out by now? In other words, if I'm speaking negatively to myself and I'm coming from a place of shame or judgment, that is not going to help. That is not going to help me make a change for sure. The next one, trying to change everything. So sometimes we rather than trying to change one small thing that might have a ripple effect, we go, right, that's it. And I don't know, I'm going to eat 30 different plant-based foods every day, and we throw everything out that isn't that. And of course, that is because it's everything, it's overwhelming and it's unsustainable. So trying to do it from a place of negativity, trying to do everything, those are big, big traps. Limiting beliefs or stories, especially if we've tried to change before and we haven't managed it, that can be very, very difficult. The words we choose to use when we speak to ourselves, that's really challenging. Well, then it is. That's really difficult. Then it is. So how we speak to ourselves, the stories and beliefs that we run, often subconsciously, often they're not even ours, those can really get in the way and make change difficult. So there are a number of thinking fallacies. They're kind of traps or cages that come along with change. And this all or nothing one, is really important, I think, because it links to that relapse that we saw in the previous slide. When we inevitably fall off the wagon a little bit, whatever that is, this thinking fallacy basically says, well, right, that's it, you've messed it up. And that's it, over then. And we then kind of double down on the behaviors that we don't want, abandoning the change. So that and other thinking fallacies are at play here. One of the things we often do when we want to change something is we look for a new thing. I want this, I want that, and we neglect the tools we've already got, and we don't delve into that toolbox. So by looking for something new, it can make us feel unskilled or not capable. Actually, if you just looked at the tools you've already got in your toolkit, I'm willing to bet you've got pretty much everything you need. All right, you might need some information or a pair of trainers, but actually the inner resources you need to make a change, you've probably already got them. So it's about focusing on your toolbox, as well as being truthful about the fact that maybe a new approach might be helpful. We've talked about this, but failure is part of the process. It's to be embraced. It's to be used. How can I learn, etc., etc. It's not that you're not going to fail. It's just it's baked into it. Change taking longer than you think or that you want it to. Oh, if I did X or Y or Z in 6 months, yes. And then life gets in the way, and then, etc., etc. So it's really about acknowledging that it will unfold in a way that may mean you don't get it done as quickly as you think you should be able to. And that is a trap, because it can make you feel like a failure. Oh, well, I haven't done it yet. That's ridiculous. Change is gradual. It takes time. And then this one around the whole elephant, the expression, we don't try and eat the whole elephant, we eat it in small slices. What this is about is taking baby steps. So yes, for example, I might want to get fitter, but I'm going to start, my baby step is I'm going to start by walking the dogs for 10 minutes extra, then 20 minutes extra. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to join a gym, get a personal trainer, and radically all everything. That might sound tempting, but the reality is that's the bit that's unsustainable. So building it with baby steps, gradually, that's much, much easier and more sustainable. So then the last thing I wanted to offer here, this comes from NLP, and this is about a well-formed outcome. How can we make sure that when we say we want something, we A, really want it, and B, can make that change in a sustainable way? I really like this model. So let's just quickly run through it. Often when I'm coaching somebody and I ask them what they want, they tell me what they don't want. It's really important, as we said earlier, for change to come from a place of positivity. So when you think about what you want, state it positively. How will you know that you've got it? That's also really important. So this is what I want, and this is how I'll know that I have it. What will you see, hear, feel, do, say? Let's anchor it in our senses, and let's make that really clear. Can you start and maintain this outcome? Because the answer might be, frankly, no, not at the moment. If you can start and maintain it, where, when, and with whom are you going to do that? Sorry for the bing bonging. I should have turned my WhatsApp off. Oops. What do I get out of the situation that's present now, here and now, that I want to bring with me? So and this bit can be a bit counterintuitive, but there's something positive in what you're already doing. Even if it's a sense of safety, you want to bring that with you. You really, really do. And otherwise, it does make the change unsustainable, and you'll want to go back to the old way of doing things, which made you feel safe, or it made you feel happy, or whatever it is. It made you feel cool, or So really tune in to what you get out of the way you're doing things now. That's absolutely key. And then this ecology check at the end. This is going to cost you things. It might cost you money. It might cost you time. Is that okay with you? And then the last bit is important. Is this aligned to your sense of who you are, to your values, to your sense of self, fundamentally? Because if the answer is no, again, it's going to be tricky. So this is a really, really nice model that I offer for you to frame an outcome in a way that will make it easier for you to achieve it. So now it's time to get into our practice. This is, I'm just going to read a very short introduction that enables you to get yourself in the right headspace. You might want to have something to write with and to write on. Make sure you're in a space where you won't be disturbed. And we're just going to, tune in internally to that inner coach. This is your inner coach is the part of you that's curious and compassionate, and they want the best for you. They genuinely want the best for you. And your inner coach embodies all of the wonderful qualities you see and experience in coaches that you may have encountered. Maybe you are a coach. So this is embodying all of that inside of you in this inner coach. Think of how you coach others or experience coaching: the listening, the curiosity, the lack of judgment or criticism, the gentle accountability, the open questions. These are big features of coaching, and it's something you can do inside of yourself for you. So take a moment to arrive here now in your body. Take some deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Knowing that in this moment, here now, there's nothing to do. You have nowhere to be now. Just be present here. And we're going to begin to get to know your inner coach. So really welcome with openness, whatever comes. You might feel a sensation in your body. You might see a colour, a shape, a version of you. There's no possible way to get this wrong. So just welcome with openness, whatever comes. So today we are focusing on change. So now is a good moment to tune in to something that you want to be different for yourself. Whatever that is, however big, however small, and be curious and non-judgmental about whatever thoughts and reflections come up. If you find there are any voices present, such as your inner critic, just gently invite them to step back just half a pace, just for a moment or two, as you engage with your inner coach. So now imagine that you have two chairs, whatever chairs you like. In your mind's eye, imagine that they're there, and put the chairs in any setting that works for you. Now you're going to sit down. You're going to sit in one chair and your inner coach in the other. Notice any thoughts that come up as you reflect on the change that you'd like to make. And now I recommend that you pause and take 5 minutes, or however long you choose to have an inner dialogue with your coach about that change and why that is meaningful. So pause now, come back in 5 minutes. So hopefully you've done that, and that's been a really interesting and helpful experience for you. So just thank your inner coach for coming. And then we're gonna keep going. You might have some thoughts or reflections to note down. Now is a good moment to do that. And so as you've had that dialogue, and there will be reflections. They might come now, they might come later. Note them down. Really helpful. If you have a journaling habit, this is going to stand you in good stead, I think, with your inner coaching journey. It might be just interesting to think about now, how did it go? What did I like about that process? What did I not like? What would I do differently next time? This is for you. I'm giving you a framework to operate within. You might notice some things that work or don't work. Fantastic. Your coaching of yourself is a very personal thing, and it is your journey. So notice how it went and what changes would you like to make next time you try. So our February focus, well, I'm recording this before I've done the live self-coaching community. So I'm going to ask the people who show up on that session, I'm going to ask them what they'd like to focus on, and I'll put it in the email when I send this recording out. So Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to do this format from now on to replace the newsletter that I used to send out. So I send you lots of love and blessings, and I will see you next month. Take care.